Our journey through Black History Month continues with Rosa Page Welch, a well-known and talented Christian singer in the 20th century. She was a member of the Disciples of Christ Church for her whole life, but she had significant interactions with the Church of the Brethren. Her first contact with the Brethren came in 1933. She was performing at a concert in Mooresville, Indiana, her first concert before an all-white audience. A woman named Mrs. Summers was attending the concert, and during the intermission, she introduced herself and invited Rosa to sing at a Brethren meeting. Rosa quickly accepted the invitation, and at that meeting, Rosa met Anna Mao, a well-known Brethren author, teacher, and speaker, and they became good friends. Through her friendship with Anna Mao, Rosa was able to explore her lifelong dream of becoming a missionary to Africa. Anna connected her to the Foreign Mission Secretary for the Church of the Brethren. Soon Rosa was on a flight to Nigeria and began a term of Brethren volunteer service. During her time in Nigeria, Rosa served as a school teacher and choir director. She taught the Nigerians through her testimony of love and acceptance, which easily translated across the language barrier. One of Rosa's first engagements upon returning to the U.S. was a speaking invitation to the Church of the Brethren National Youth Conference, the first one to be held in Estes Park, Colorado. In her message to the youth, she reminded them that they are never too young to receive the Holy Spirit. She urged them to give up a comfortable life to serve those in need. And she said that unless we learn to witness for Jesus Christ in our own country, the people the Brethren have taken the gospel to around the world will have to come to the U.S. and evangelize us. Rosa became involved in leadership in the Church of the Brethren when she was elected to serve on the General Board from 1970 to 1973. She was the first person elected to serve on the board from outside the denomination, under new rules passed that allowed for an expert in denominational and ecumenical affairs to serve. Rosa was the only Black member of the General Board, and she called Brethren to work harder to dismantle racial barriers that still exist in our country. Rosa was a sought-after speaker at Brethren events across the country. One person who heard her speak said this: "Whenever she spoke from the pulpit of our church, it was a memorable event, and our people were inspired by her spirit and the insightfulness of her message." Race is a notoriously difficult subject to discuss, especially for white people. But Rosa spoke openly about racism at her lectures or concerts. She was also active in the civil rights movement in the 1960s. Rosa learned how to have difficult conversations by starting with music. She once said, "If you get people to singing, they forget things. They want to talk." Rosa began to share her testimony about race relations and was often invited to speak. Rosa raised awareness about the conditions that persons of color face in America. Many Brethren youth who heard Rosa speak say she encouraged them to commit to racial reconciliation and commit to the church in deeper ways. Rosa's musical talent, spiritual depth, and ability to connect with all kinds of people were an incredible gift to the Church of the Brethren. We've heard 4 inspiring stories from African American Brethren this month: Samuel Weir, Maddie Cunningham Dolby, William Hayes, and Rosa Page Welch. They invited us to join the struggle for racial equality. What are African American Brethren saying today? Are we interested in hearing their voices? Would we believe their stories? That is where our journey continues. As we journey through this next year, until the next Black History Month, let us make a commitment together to seek out the voices of Black Americans, and most importantly, to believe what they tell us.